Welcome to Throwback Thursday, where we bring you a homeopathy hangout episode from our archives in case you missed it first time round. Because this episode may be a couple years old by the time you hear it as a throwback, some of the special offers, links, or content may not be valid anymore, so please keep this in mind when listening. You're always welcome to reach out to us at info@eugeniekruger.com. Enjoy the episode. Hi homies, can I please ask for a moment of your time to share some information with you about our major sponsor, the Centre for Homeopathic Education, or CHE. As many of you may know, I have considered stopping this podcast many times over the past 3.5 years that it's been running due to the costs involved in producing this content. So, when Marcus Fernandez at CHE reached out to become our major sponsor for the Homeopathy Hangout podcast so that everyone around the world can continue to enjoy this content free of charge, it truly was the hugest weight off my shoulders. Thank you so much, Marcus, and thank you so much, CHE. So this month, I would love to share with you about Marcus's new book called Homeopathy at Home, published by Hay House. This is more than just a book. It's your go-to guide for managing everyday health issues naturally and effectively with homeopathy. Whether it's bumps, bruises, colds, or even those sleepless nights, Homeopathy at Home is packed with practical advice and remedies to empower you to take charge of your family's health. It's written to be simple, accessible, and most importantly, useful. Think of it as the book you'll want to keep in the kitchen, not on the shelf. And here's the best part. This book isn't just about treating symptoms. It's about unlocking your body's innate healing wisdom. With step-by-step guidance and remedies for common ailments, you'll feel confident and capable of using homeopathy in your everyday life. So, if you're ready to bring natural healing into your home, grab your copy of Homeopathy at Home today. This also makes a wonderful gift. You can find it wherever good books are sold, on Amazon, or head to www.marcus-fernandez.com for more details. Let's make homeopathy a part of everyday life. If you've been listening to my podcast for any length of time, you would have heard about the groundbreaking conference called Unleashing Homeopathy, which I hosted with fellow colleagues in Bali last year. Well, guess what? We are doing it all again. Unleashing Homeopathy is for qualified homeopaths who are ready to push the boundaries and dare to think beyond convention. Enjoy listening to world-class speakers featuring Michaelia Keir, Ambika Waters, Paul Theriault, Carol Boyce, Janie Lavelle and Lizzie Martinez. You too can be part of the sacred cacao ceremony under the banyan tree, hosted by Janie Lavelle and Reita Poyoinen, to deepen your connection and set powerful intentions. Imagine yourself relaxing in the crystal blue pool at our venue, having conversations with inspiring homeopaths from around the world. Immerse yourself in the vibrational power of a group sound healing journey, and to top it all off, buffet lunch and dinner, as well as morning and afternoon tea, is included in the ticket price. What more could you ask for? Half of the tickets have already sold and early bird closes on 31 March. Grab your ticket at unleashinghomeopathy.com before they sell out. See you in Bali. Today we speak with a gorgeous homeopath right here in Australia and somebody who has become a dear friend of mine thanks to homeopathy, the lovely Lauren Allender. Lauren shares some fascinating stories of her time working in a homeopathic laboratory in Melbourne and how this exposed her to a huge variety of remedies and kept her on her toes with a wide variety of questions she'd have to answer on a daily basis. I know you're going to love this behind-the-scenes look and also Lauren's friendly, approachable style. If you'd like to get in touch with Lauren, visit www.laurenallender.com. That's LAURENALLENDER.com. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome to the Homeopathy Hangout, where we discuss all things homeopathy from around the world. And now my mum and your host, Eugenie Kruger.
Hello, homies, and a very warm welcome to Homeopathy Hangout. Today, we get to hang out with my lovely friend, Lauren Allender. Welcome, Lauren.
Thanks for having me on board today, Eugenie. I'm excited.
I am so excited to have you on. It's taken a little bit of a coaxing, but I am super glad to have you here. And I was wondering if you actually mind if I share how we first met. Because I thought that's a pretty fun story in itself.
Please do that, yes.
Because I had just arrived in Perth about 6 years ago, and then I started working at this health shop. And I also was doing a little bit of homeopathy in the background. And then I would always call Martin and Pleasant's lab, and often you were the one that would take my call, and we would have some lovely conversations and lots of emails back and forth. And then you finished up there a little while ago, but we've managed to stay in touch, and we've never met in person, but we've had a couple of video calls and things. And you've always been just so friendly, so approachable, so helpful. So I just want to say thank you for that. And it's lovely to have you in my life.
Oh, thank you. Well, I mean, we enjoyed your chats because you were a homeopath that was interested in a wide range of homeopathy. So you weren't just doing one thing, and you were teaching, and you were learning and changing and shifting and exploring. So it was interesting ways. Yeah.
Oh, well, tell us a little bit about what was your introduction to homeopathy? How did it come about?
The famous mother story, the mothers, when you're a mother. Well, actually, the first homeopathic medicine I ever had was gelsemium. I'm just telling you that because it's such a famous medicine. But I had it for colds. I lived in Europe at the time. And a friend said, you need to take gelsemium if you're getting a cold. And I said, yeah, okay. So that was the absolute first medicine I had. Then years and years later, when my son was maybe 6 months or so, we lived in the Netherlands, and he had a rash on his cheek. But thankfully, in the Netherlands, homeopathy is big. And my GP is a homeopath and a GP, because that's common in the Netherlands. And anyway, so I took him along, and he had this eczema on his cheek that he'd been scratching till it was bleeding. So that's very alarming when you wake up with your child with blood on their face.
Yeah.
Anyway, she just was very quiet, and mostly she observed him. She asked me very few questions, and she just watched him play on the floor. So he must have been maybe 9 months. And she just observed him, and she said, he needs lycopodium. So I was literally there for 5 minutes. And I thought, how do you know? You haven't even talked to me. Anyway, we took the lycopodium 6C home, and the next day it almost completely.
Amazing. Oh, it must be placebo, surely.
Totally placebo. Absolutely. But then my ears pricked up big time as a result. And I remember this was, by the way, before the internet, 1994 and 5. So I used to hang out in the English language bookstores in Amsterdam and read homeopathic books. And I just completely fell in love because it just made such sense to me.
That's amazing.
So that was the start.
And how did you then decide to train, and where did you end up training?
Oh, well, then that took a much longer time. So by the time I started training, my son was already, he just started school, so he's 5. And then I did part-time study, as most mothers do, because we have to juggle things. So then I started and took 7 years to finish, and then that's what I've been doing ever since. Yeah.
Amazing. And you also did quite a long stint at Martin and Pleasant's lab, which for our listeners is a homeopathic lab that's been running for over 100 years here in Australia. Hey, and I get most of my medicines come straight from there. They have got the most amazing customer service. They're so friendly. They're so helpful. They're so knowledgeable. So tell me a little bit about your time there.
Well, that was a steep learning curve because you have to be all over different ways of prescribing homeopathy. So one of the examples that came to mind was, homeopathy is based on the minimum dose. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And we used to have this one woman who's a homeopath, and she used to order sulfur CM in 500 ml bottles. So
just put that into perspective.
Yeah, so sulfur is a medicine we're often careful with skin symptoms. It's got a lot of history to it. But CM potency is one of the very, very high potencies. And I can't even imagine giving one drop. But she used to order it by the litre.
Wow.
But we never really grasped what she was doing. She said she used to rinse people's mouths with it I'm just saying it in that way that we don't know. And there's a lot of prescribers that gave big amounts of low potency homeopathy as well, like not a minimum dose at all. So I got we were all challenged about the different approaches. Yeah.
And we are constantly challenged as homeopaths. Hey, but can you maybe, just for a bit of fun, tell us what are some of the stranger remedies that you have in stock?
Oh my goodness, there were so many. I think that the strangest ones started to come in, over the last 2 years when we had to get all the different nosodes to deal with the current virus.
Mhm.
That was kind of a challenge to get to know everything, and we got really busy, of course.
Mm.
But the ones that drew my attention were things such as the family of lac, the milk remedies,
Mhm.
lac humanum and lac maternum. And we also had a lot of colour remedies from Ambica waters. And that's a range of colours that are made into homeopathic potencies. And I found them fascinating. So I went off and learned all of that. And I don't think I prescribed them that often, but it was a big learning curve. So I often went for things that were a little bit different to learn about.
Mhm.
But I mean, there's an endless range of strange things.
Yeah, I bet. And you were there for, I think, 5 years, eh?
Yeah, I was there for 5 years. So,
Wow.
so I learned a lot in that time, and then it was time to go. It's very labor intensive because we, have to, just be sitting at our desks discussing things. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I learned more probably in that 5 years, and than I probably learned in the previous 5 years. Yes. Because I was exposed to so much. Yeah.
I've always said I'd love to do a stint, even a few months working in a homeopathic pharmacy. I really think that must be the ultimate opportunity to open your mind and expose you to different remedies, ways of prescribing.
Yes. And you do have to be on the ball because, we get asked so many questions. I mean, I've been in a lot of frontline roles, but that's the one that I've had to answer the most.
Absolutely. And people expect you to know everything. I know every time I called up, I was like, well, yeah, no, you just expect that you would know everything. I mean, you're only human at the end of the day.
We did supply to the public as well. So that's
true.
right. We might be starting at, really basic things like gelsemium, which is a common remedy, or we might go to something that we would hardly even know were there. Like, can't think of a good example, but I think there was 3,000 remedies there.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
So you can't be over all of them. And every week we would say, well, I've never heard of this before.
Well, I think I've got most of Martin and Pleasant's remedies then because I'm up to about 1,600 at the moment. And most of that came from Martin and Pleasant.
That's fantastic.
And I did get a Christmas gift from them 2 years in a row for being one of their best customers.
We did endeavour to acknowledge people. Yeah.
Which actually, I just have to say, they bought me a voucher for a donation on my behalf to Homeopathy for Health in Africa, which I thought was the best present ever. So anyone out there, if you ever want to buy anybody a Christmas gift and you don't know what to get them a donation on behalf of that person to Homeopathy for Health in Africa.
Yes.
Quick little question as well, just for interest for my sake. Were any of you ever affected by any of the remedies when you were making it? Because some people are quite sensitive to some remedies.
That's a good question. I did have a friend that had to resign in the end because she was getting symptoms and she was getting skin symptoms as well from the alcohol. But also, we're inhaling those remedies every single day as we make them up. So some people have been affected, but not me personally.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a healthy thing to be exposed to so much energy of the medicines as you're making them, I think our vitality high.
I agree. And I always, one of my little projects that we had to do when I was studying to become a homeopath, we had to write on Hahnemann. And I just remember reading somewhere that he proved 120 remedies on himself. Okay, he physically took the remedies. He didn't just inhale it. And he lived to be 88. And that's something that always amazes me for, the 1800s. So, being exposed to all of those remedies clearly did something to his vital force.
Totally has to influence you in some way.
Yeah. So, Lauren, tell us a little bit about what it's like in a day in the life of a homeopath, because you have a very busy home clinic now and you see people online as well as in person.
Yes, I see people online as well as in the clinic in Melbourne. I've been there for 20 years already in Melbourne. So
wow.
I walk up and down the stairs and I think, oh my goodness, I was a teenager when I arrived.
Oh.
Anyway, I just thought it's a good idea for people to understand the diversity of actions of homeopathic medicines. You can start with the simplest thing, which might be an upset tummy or something like that, but it can also go across the range of really deep mental, emotional issues. I do see a lot of people with trauma backgrounds, so that there's some really very excellent medicines for digging deep into trauma. And anything in between. And so the age group is really diverse as well. I was just thinking I could have newborn babies come into the clinic or I can have elderly gentlemen, with skin rashes or like right into their 80s up till 90, I think is the eldest client. So I wanted to get that message across to people that you can choose it at any stage of life.
Mhm.
And pregnancy is a good time to start homeopathy. A lot of the families I get come with mum being pregnant and maybe she has some morning sickness and she starts off that way. And then once you've got the mum in, then you've got them.
Absolutely. And I think with pregnancy, the thing is that, up until the day that you're pregnant, you can take any drug, you can take anything, there's no issues. But the moment you're pregnant, it's like, no, you can't take this. No, you can't take this. No, you can't take that. And then suddenly you're left with like hardly any options of what you can take during pregnancy. And then people, if they're lucky, discover homeopathy and realize it's completely safe during pregnancy, birth and beyond. And then that really opens their minds. So
absolutely. And also for labour, birthing, often we make up kits for the mums so that they've got something in the labour ward, the partner or the doula or whoever's with them can offer them some solutions while you're in labour. And I don't think many people realise you can do that as well.
Oh, I had 2 home births and I am so grateful to homeopathy. I did do hypnobirthing as well and I ended up training to be a hypnobirthing practitioner, which I don't do anymore. But if it wasn't for the homeopathics, I don't know if I would have been able to have those home births. My son's labor was 24 hours and it was all at home, all drug-free. And all I used were my homeopathics and it was amazing. There's hardly any tearing afterwards. Milk came in straight away. 12 hours after his birth, I went to the supermarket to go do some grocery shopping.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. I don't recommend people do that, but I was on such a high and, the breast milk came in. He had no issues. It was just the most amazing thing. And I credit 90% of that to homeopathy.
Right. Well, unfortunately, I wasn't a homeopath then. So, but I did have a home birth. So that was, but it wasn't down to I wasn't using it regularly at all. I just, as I said, my son once he started.
Amazing. And have you got any favorite cases that you like to treat or any areas?
Well, I do see a lot of children mostly because I adore children and they're so fascinating and I can't help but fall in love with chatty little 3-year-olds when they're telling me. They come up really close and tell you their family stories and things like that. So I do a lot of day-to-day sort of homeopathy for coughs and colds and fevers, and I do love to teach parents how to take responsibility for their children's health. It's one of my top things, really, because I want them to be able to treat their children at home. Till they go to the doctor or the hospital or whatever's required. But often we don't have to do that, do we? We treat an ear infection, an earache or a tummy ache at home. And I often say if there's a respiratory problem, just give the homeopathy on the way to get some advice. And then by the time they get there, it's often stopped. So for things like croup and things, when they start giving babies, steroids straight up, and you give them some aconite and some spongia and some pepper salt, and it's often
I actually think homeopathy for croup is probably one of the things. I think homeopathy for teething is how we win over most people. Teething. And a very close second would be homeopathy for croup, because I have never not been able to help a child with croup with, aconite, spongia, hepasulf, and drosera. Between those 4, it's like a no-brainer. And you can just, everyone can have a good night's sleep. Your child can breathe properly. Instead of it becoming a recurring thing because you use steroids and it keeps recurring, once you use the homeopathy, you'll often find your child won't have croup again after that. So,
and it also takes the fear factor away because you've got something at home to start administering. So, because it is a scary thing at home when your child's got
so
croup.
Scary. Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
But once you have the tools. So I get a lot of enjoyment about teaching mamas. So one of my clients today, actually, I met her when she came to one of my workshops. My friend and I did workshops for homeopathy at home workshops a long time ago, 10 years ago. And she was fully pregnant on that day. And she's still, as in giving birth the next day. And her child now is 12. And so I just spoke to her today about her youngest child. So she has learned homeopathy so well to manage her children. And she just has to check in every now and then to find some other solutions. So I get so overjoyed actually for those families because they've taken responsibility.
That is the best feeling, hey?
I've got numerous families like that whose children are now going into secondary school, but the children know what to take.
Mm.
Do you come across that when they
I
just
have, yeah.
oh. And the little boy today, he was actually a new client. I only just met him, but he is used to taking arnica. So he tells his mum when he's had a fall or he's got a bruise, I need arnica. So they already are being educated.
My 10 and almost 8-year-old are the same. Like they know their remedies. They know what to take when. And as soon as they start reading, my kids start reading the bottles. And the other day, I think I said to my son, take some Magfos. And then he read the bottle and he said, but that doesn't say it on the bottle. I'm like, I'm a homeopath. I know what you can use it for. Take it.
Do it properly, Mum.
Yeah, he's like checking up on me. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you can empower those kiddies, I mean, that's really the ultimate.
Well, that's where my my dream lies, is to teach the children, and then they can teach the adults, actually. But so long as they're exposed to this information, then they will make decisions for themselves that are less chemical based, so to speak. Yeah,
absolutely.
Change in their siblings as well.
Yeah, and hopefully their friends, their community, hopefully their teachers.
Well, the thing, what you're doing is getting the word out into, across the globe, so to speak, and people will be drawn to using different options, especially after the last 2 years when people were so unwell and they didn't know how to manage their symptoms. They couldn't get the help they needed. And, I just encourage them to have a kit, at least a basic home kit, so you've got somewhere to turn for a fever or anything.
Hi, homies. This is Sarah Valentini letting you know about a seminar and trituration proving retreat coming up at the end of July and early August this year with Michal Yakir. Michal is a homeopath, botanist, researcher and author of an amazing book called Wondrous Plants, a comprehensive materia medica on the flowering plants in homeopathy. Michal has lectured around the world, and it has been a long-time dream of hers to come and do plant triturations in the Daintree rainforest. Michal is leading a 6-day adventure in the Daintree rainforest in far north Queensland, where you can be involved in trituration provings of 5 different plants. The experience of a trituration proving can bring so much clarity to your prescribing and is a wonderful tool to deepen your knowledge of the plants. This once-in-a-lifetime experience starts on the 31st of July and finishes on the 5th of August, and will include a guided tour with a botanist in the Daintree rainforest. Michal is writing her next book on the ancient plants, so following the adventure into the Daintree, there will be a 2.5-day seminar in Noosa, Queensland, from the 7th of August to the 9th of August, and will focus on teaching about the ancient plants, which include the mosses, ferns, cycads, and conifers, amongst others. This is the information that will be available in Michal's new book that is not yet released. To find out more, please email us at michalyakir2025, that's MICHALYAKIR 2025 @gmail.com, or you can go to our Facebook event page, which is Ancient Plants Seminar and Trituration Provings with Michal Yakir. I really hope many of you can join us.
I completely agree. And not all of the weird restriction things are done here in Western Australia yet anyway. So if you go to a hospital, there's still like certain protocols and things that you have to do. So a lot of people who have decided not to get the COVID vaccination are scared to go to hospital for little things because they don't. A client told me the other day, if you're unvaccinated, you have to wear an orange wristband in the hospital to identify that you're unvaccinated. I mean, that is just discrimination in the highest degree, for one.
Yeah.
But 2, if it's something where it's, like you're thinking, should I take my child to hospital for croup, or should, with the discrimination, the stress, they might get separated because you're not vaccinated, or treat my child at home with something safe and effective. I know which one I'm going to take. I'm obviously going to be prepared that I might go to hospital, everything else as well. And I would never advocate for anyone who doesn't go. But if there is a safe option that you could treat your children at home, why wouldn't you? Yes. And also the load on the medical system is just, so much. So if we can lighten some of that load by
treating
some of the things.
we have the best tools available to lighten that load. If we could just get that word out that we can treat simple things in the home, and then if things become more serious, we love the medical profession in that instance. And they're great diagnosticians. I often send my clients to have their ears, nose, throats checked so I know what's going on, and then they report back what was observed. Mind you, some GPs don't give a very thorough picture of the ears, for example. They just go, oh, it's a bit red, but they don't tell you about bulging drums or anything that we require.
And even blood, I mean, they're great to send the clients off to go get blood tests done. But even I found clients that have said, oh, yeah, my doctor said my iron's fine. And then I say, well, email me your blood test result. And then you have a quick read through and there's actually bits that have been missed. So,
yes. And they're overburdened with too much information, I think, the medical world. Because there's tests upon tests upon tests. And they're not definitive. You know, I don't believe they're definitive because it's just a moment in time. We're dynamic beings. We change, minute by minute. That's what the human is all about. So one test doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So what, after all these years, Lauren, gets you excited about homeopathy? What makes you get out of bed and do it all over again?
Well, because it makes a difference in people's lives. And that's my great joy is I'm here, in service to make it, to make a change in people's worlds. And I did just think of a case recently because I just saw this woman this week and she came to me first, even though she'd booked in for her son who had a few spectrum things going on. Anyway, she came to me and she said, I don't think you'd be able to do anything, but, she had the drenching night sweats with menopause. And I said, well, we can give it a try. There's a few options. And the reason I'm telling you this story is she was one of my great successes. She took 1 dose of Mederinum, which is often used in that situation. It's a no-so, just as a deep-acting medicine, and a few doses of Merxol 30. So I didn't even use the standard menopausal sweat.
Yeah, absolutely. That's not even what I would have used. So obviously, yeah.
That's why I'm telling you that. So sometimes you just intuit something and go with it. She's never had another sweat since then. She hardly took any medicine. And it was just, she was, just in perfect timing and alignment. And she's also very healthy. Like I just think her body took what it needed from the energy of the medicines. And she still says to me, we've met a few times since then, she goes, I still can't believe it. She said, I was like this for years. And it just stopped in its tracks. So I'm just like those. We all like those examples, don't we, Hubby?
That's so cool. And actually, I'm just going to read you my text message. I just got one before we started chatting. My clients just messaged me. I had to share my good news with you. My child's hair analysis test came back with no signs of heavy metals or radiation. I'm over the moon. Thank you so much for your help. This text message, I haven't. Oh, here we go. Another one. Hi, Eugenie. So this is like just 2 in a row this morning. Gosh, I haven't vomited in 3 days, which feels like a miracle. So grateful for you. She had very bad morning sickness. I gave her the remedy Symphoric Carpus, which embarrassingly, I've never prescribed before, but she just, symptoms just led to that. But this is why we do what we do. Like,
it's so rewarding.
How cool is it having these messages on your phone of people saying...
In fact, I had a message that I was going to bring up.
Yeah, bring it up, please.
So cute. The reason I loved it is we don't always get feedback, as you know.
Oh, no, I have to say, I have an email this morning from somebody who suffered with a cough for a couple of weeks and I still haven't got the right remedy. So just caveat out there.
That's why I'm telling you this one. It was a little boy. How did she tell? It was a little boy who'd had a 3-year-old or 3.5 who'd had a cough for 6 weeks. And it kind of came and went a bit, but mostly he was coughing and coughing. So he had 1 dose of Rumex 30C. And the mum said he slept for 12 plus hours with no coughing in capital letters. So that was just Rumex. And then the next morning, though, he woke up and he said, Mum, I'm not sick anymore.
Oh.
Which I thought was beautiful. And she said every other day he'd been saying he's still sick. And then he was also happy to go to kinder that day when he'd been reticent for many weeks as well. So she was over the moon. She'd never used any homeopathy before. And he turned the corner. He still has had a cough since then, but the main part of it was diminished.
I really love Rumex. It's a remedy made from yellow dock. and it's got that tickliness type thing in the throat. And I had a Rumex cough just this week as well from a gentleman who's had this cough for years. And he's been seeing me for about a year and a half, but he never really mentioned this cough before. That wasn't his main complaint. And so now after all these consults, he's just said, oh, you've healed all these other things. I've had this cough for years. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he responded so well to Rumex.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because the people that respond to Rumex, they just seem to, it changes them really quickly when you get the right.
He said it was just like a day or two. And then several days later it returned and he just had another dose. But for our clients, like it's that.
Yes.
Like it's that.
But it's also that cold air thing as well because
you breathe in the cold air.
Rumex, and it's the people that put the scarf over their face because they can't inhale cold air.
Yeah, and I think isn't it also like if they like breathe in to speak or anything like that, and that airflow is what kind of triggers it as well, hey?
Yeah, the tickle. Yeah, the tickle. Yeah. Which we get, don't we, as homeopaths, because we're talking all day long.
Well, I will tell you a little secret. Often I record at 7 a.m. to account for my guests in America. And when I record that early, my voice is just really yucky until about 9 o'clock. So those first two interviews that I do from 7 till 9, my throat is just horrible. And this morning,
what have you got in your hand there?
It is the Narayani throat chakra remedy. And I had one dose and wasn't even 5 minutes. And it was all gone. I could just speak clearly. It was amazing.
And is that a homeopathic complex or just
it is a complex. It's the Narayani complex remedies, which, I mean, I won't lie. I am so skeptical about them. I'm like, how is this stuff working? I just don't understand. But
I remember learning about a colleague actually at the lab, her husband, who was a naturopath, used to use Narayanis. And there was something called war.
There is. War is amazing for infections.
Exactly. But there's very high potency complex and it works a treat every time.
It does. Yep. And you know what? Their removal of entities remedy is absolutely incredible.
Oh, really?
I've had so many good results with that with kitties who have issues with spirits attaching to them. And
thank you. I'll have to look at them again. Because
amazing.
I haven't used them for some time. But going back to the throat chakra, though, when I was talking about the colour remedies, well, turquoise as a colour, as you know, comes up the throat chakra.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah, amazing.
Yes. So, sometimes just putting turquoise on your throat can be helpful. You know, the colour itself, which I find fascinating because it's just it's vibration. It's a vibration that your body is calling out for at that time. So,
I love it. That was a nice
wear a turquoise scarf.
Well, I often wear like a turquoise crystals that I really like, but just because I like it, not because I really know much about it. So that's really good. Thanks.
Well, I think I've worked with some pretty stunning people at the clinic where I practice who are healers of all denominations, so to speak. Yeah. So I've picked up a lot from them.
I'm having so much fun chatting with you, Lauren. I kind of forgot that we're recording. What else would you like to share with our listeners? Because, sorry, I'm just completely going off track.
Exactly.
I was having so much fun.
Yes, I did make a couple of notes. Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about was the bowel nosodes.
Oh,
yes. Such a favourite turning point for so many clients. So the bowel nosodes are like, to me, I call them kind of a homeopathic probiotic.
That's what I call them too, yeah.
But there's a lot of detail in making a choice. You don't use the same one for everybody. But the changes that I've observed from using a regular dose of a bowel nosode have been some of the most extraordinary changes I've seen in behaviour as well, not just in gut health. So one of my favourites is Proteus. And Proteus is to do with people that, this is how they've described it to me, is that they flare up emotionally really quickly. So the tantrum goes from 1 to 10 in a very short time. So the child might be, completely calm 1 minute and off they go. And I have seen many children settled from taking a course of Proteus. So their poor little guts are just out of balance. And by introducing a good quality gut bacteria, you can change their whole behaviour very quickly if you get the right ones.
Oh my gosh. sorry to butt in again, but Proteus would be one of my favorites too.
Oh,
And
really? Okay.
we've both done the same. You did the CHE bowel nose
Yes,
lecture with Hillary as
told
well.
me about that.
Yeah, and she talks about it as feeling like you have to walk on eggshells around the person, or it could be that the mum was exposed to like a very traumatic event during pregnancy, and then the child that's born, has this predisposition. It's a very adrenalized remedy where, like you say, they go from 0 to 10 without stopping on.
Yes. And
I
it's
have had
good.
amazing results with that remedy in seizures in children, little kiddies with seizures. Oh my gosh.
That's interesting because I'm just about to put on a young boy. I mean, he's 6. He just turned 16, actually. I'm just about to try him on Proteus because when they came to me, he was having multiple seizures every day. Oh, sorry, I should put it in context. He had a brain injury at birth. He had a stroke in utero. And when he was born, they had the, sad news that he might not be verbal. He might not be many different things. He is the most remarkable teenage man, but his mother has just given him all different homeopathic, different approaches.
Modalities.
Homeopathy, yeah. And anyway, he's done extremely well. But then the last 2 years, he started to get seizures. That was new for him. So when I first saw him, I didn't think of Proteus at first because I managed the seizures with Cuprum, which was a lucky call.
Oh, not lucky. Cuprum is amazing for that as well.
It's such an amazing homeopathic medicine, yes. So my focus was there. And then we were just talking yesterday and I said, I think actually this sounds like what he needs at the moment. And Mum agreed. So we're just about to start on that.
Amazing. Let me know how it goes. Yes. But you know how you said with Cuprum, yeah, it's amazing. I feel like I say that with every single homeopathic remedy. Like, oh, that's such an amazing remedy. That's such an amazing remedy. All of them are amazing.
Well, because we see change, because not always when you treat someone who's unwell do you see such noticeable change. And indeed, there's lots of times when what we give doesn't work. But the thing is, we can keep prescribing, we can give other options and different approaches and still find solutions. It doesn't have to come in the first time.
Exactly.
And I do encourage people to return. I always book at least a couple of times and say, let's, see you in a month and see you in the month after so we can track your responses. Otherwise, busy life gets in the way and people drift away. So I
have actually just today written something up. I haven't put it out yet, but any new clients that want to sign up with me have to commit to 3 follow-up, like an initial and 3 follow-ups, because that first appointment, we are just throwing a little pebble in the pond and we're just seeing what ripples come out there. We are not going to cure you. Well, heal you. I should be careful using the word cure. Not going to heal you in that first session. It's just to see how your body responds to this remedy. Exactly. And then you need to come back and give us a feedback. And we learn from your feedback of how you responded to that remedy, whether that is the right potency for you, whether it's the right family of remedies. Like, is that the right remedy? Are we completely off the mark? What else has happened? And we interpret that story that you give us at the follow-up to inform us on where to go from there. So this is just a plea to all the listeners. Go to your homeopaths for your follow-ups. It's so important. And it's that 1 + 1 = 5. Because if you come for 1 follow-up, that equals 3. If you come for 3 follow-ups, that equals 10. Like, the more you are with us, the better we can help you.
Yes, exactly. And also, as I said before, we're dynamic beings. We change. Like you have a homeopathic medicine, but then your whole system is brought back into homeostasis. And then your body creates another set of symptoms. Symptoms don't have to be negative. It's just a change in your energy field.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to encourage them. Yes.
I do. I have this lovely lady. She's in her 70s. She's been seeing me for just over a year. And I said to her this week, why do you keep coming back? Because there's nothing wrong. And she's like, I just come back because I love the experience. I love talking with you and I love seeing what other remedies we can try. And, we're trying all sorts of very interesting, like butterfly remedies and all the Narayani spiritual remedies. And so we're just having a play with her right now because all her main complaints are gone, but she's enjoying this process so much that she wants to see what else we can do. And That's actually lovely to be in that place, because if she goes through a shock or a trauma or anything comes up, she's going to handle that so much better. And also, I'm going to know where she's been the last few months and what she's been up to. So it's going to be so much easier to prescribe.
And also, so many clients come to be heard. They're not heard in our world at the moment. You're not heard with the GPs, and you're not heard with your partner or your friends. And to have an hour being able to tell your story in a sacred space, that's a healing. That's the start of the healing as well. As you know, the conversation, that's the healing conversation. And so many people come just because they feel listened to, and continue the process because of that reason. And also, I have some clients, they say, at least once a month, I know I'm going to stop and talk to Lauren. It makes, if they're busy, high-powered jobs and things, they just want that little assurance that they can switch off for an hour.
I love that saying, if you don't make time for health, you'll be forced to make time for disease.
Oh, yes.
So coming for those follow-ups is part of that self-care. Hey,
Exactly. So I do definitely, we all encourage self-care, but I think that we can lead the way and give people different options. So, of course, we throw in a bit of nutritional advice or, food or whichever path we choose. But the basis is to have our energy field shifted. Because we're all energetic beings. We're not just flesh and bones.
Yeah. Well, as energetic as we are, I wish I could reach through the camera and give you a big cuddle right now, but I am planning on one day, hopefully soon, coming over to Melbourne so I can give you a real life cuddle. I can't wait.
That would be fun.
But before we finish up, Lauren, do you want to tell our listeners just one last little message that you want to leave them with?
Well, I would say go and see a homeopath regularly and take it on board as part of your self-care protocol for your whole family, because it will minimize all the potential symptoms. It's a real preventative medicine system. And if you can do that, especially for your children, then they step into their adult lives with a very clean slate, or a cleaner slate than they might otherwise if they're using multiple layers of chemicals and, pharmaceuticals and things.
And how can people get hold of you if they would like to make a booking?
Oh, I'm just under my name, laurenallender.com. I have a website.
.com.
Ooh. There you go.
That's very fancy.
I'm sorry, I don't attend to it as much as I could. But also the clinic where I work is called Botanica Medicines.
Botanical Medicines?
Botanica Medicines.
Botanica Medicines.
But if you just Google Lauren Allender.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today.
And for having me. It's been such a great chat.
It's been fun. See, I told you it'll be fun. I'll chat with you very soon.
That'd be great. Thanks for having me, Eugenie.
Pleasure.
You have your amazing podcast. I love them.
Thank you. See you. Bye.